I used to sell chocolate. Like, I was in charge of selling chocolate.
Here?
At the grocery store I worked at. At the grocery store I worked at, and I used to order chocolate from them.
Ooh.
You should go in there and buy some.
Oh, it looks good.
Because it's so good.
Hey guys, today I'm with Lena the Plug.
Hi.
Finally, I've been watching like all your vlogs.
All like 7 of them.
Oh, you have like 20 now. It's like pretty decent.
I have a decent amount of. I guess you could call me a YouTuber now.
So, where were you born?
I was born about 10 miles from where we're standing right now in Glendale, California.
Oh, and like, is all your family there, or did they?
Yeah, they're still there. My Armenian family like all immigrated here, and then they all stayed really close to each other and have never left.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
When did they immigrate from? Like, when did they?
I think in the 70s.
Oh, so your parents were born like...
My mom was born in Lebanon and my dad was born in Iraq, but they're Armenian and the entire Armenian community is in Glendale. Yeah.
Did they meet here or like?
They met here actually. They met at my high school. My dad went to my high school, my mom didn't, but they were both really into working out, and they met on the track and field of my high school. So like when I was a kid, they would take me to the track and field and they would work out while I was just like hanging out in the grass and stuff. And then I ended up going to high school there.
Were they always like sports focused for you, or?
It's really funny because they were athletic and my dad like wanted to be Arnold and stuff, you know, like everyone wanted to be Arnold in the 80s, but they really didn't put my sister and I in anything athletic, and they fed us junk food. So I think it's really ironic because I was totally a couch potato kid.
How would you describe yourself back then, like growing up?
Much like I would describe myself now, I guess. Like, I still feel like I'm kind of shy. I'm sure you can tell. I was really into like art when I was a kid. I always like drew a lot. I was really into school. Like, I just really liked being the best student in the class and like getting like straight A's and stuff. And then,
what were your favorite subjects? Was that like also psychology back then already, or?
I would say that I was always like thinking from a psychology perspective, but I think that kind of just like came intuitively to me. Like I was just like, what is the reasoning behind this? Like I always would try and like find something about someone's behavior like back then even, but I don't know if I was like exposed to psychology or anything.
Yeah.
But in high school, I guess, I really liked math. I don't know why, because I was really good at
numbers person.
I just like was good at it. I like everything I'm good at. Don't you like everything I'm good at, right? It's like you're kind of biased. You're like, oh, I can do this. Everyone wants to show like what they're good at doing, so then you like it. But otherwise, I don't think that math is like all that special. Like I'm not like passionate about math or anything like that.
Did your parents push you in like an academic way growing up?
Definitely. My dad really, really likes math and science, and like went to community college for fun, like even a couple of years ago.
Oh really?
To take take like
God.
chemistry classes and shit. Yeah. And then my mom, she's always been like just reading books when I was growing up, like reading like fat books and shit. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Definitely, always a academic push.
The sidewalk's really narrow. We're like walking in front of each other.
I realize I'm ruining the outfit I might wear later, so I'm just trying to air out my armpits. Let's stay clean. Stay clean here.
What do they do? Are they in academic careers, or?
No, my dad's an electrician.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad's an electrician. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I guess is still a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have siblings, right?
I have a sister. She's a year younger than me, and she's a really good artist. And she like works for art collective thing. Yeah.
What do you do like after school, like growing up? Like hobbies? Were you into spoken word already back then, and like literature?
I mean, I always liked reading. Like, always liked reading, but I wouldn't say I was into spoken word in particular. But I always like messed with the idea of joining drama in high school, and now that kind of makes sense to me because, in my opinion, spoken word is just like it's like reading a theater monologue, you know, for 3 minutes. Like it's performance poetry, so it kind of makes sense to me that I liked it. But I didn't really get into spoken word poetry stuff until like a year after I graduated college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like pretty recent compared to.
Yeah, I guess like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's kind of recent, I guess. Yeah. But I wish I was into it in high school. It was so cool.
Did you always know that you wanted to study, like, did you want to, like, go to college and study psychology, or was that kind of, like, a push from your parents?
I always knew I wanted to go to college, but I always knew I wanted to go to college because I knew that it was, like, a ticket out of, like, LA and, like, a new scenery, kind of, because I always wanted to, like, see new places and travel and stuff, and I was like, oh, college, okay, that means I get to move somewhere. And obviously I still stayed in California, up in, like, near the Bay Area in Santa Cruz, but that was why I really wanted to go to college. And then once I got there, I think my major when I applied was literature, and then I changed to psychology.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you have, like, girlfriends back in high school? Was your first girlfriend, like, in college?
My first and only girlfriend was in college. Yeah. We met on the first week of school in college and then became really, really good friends. And then our friendship turned into dating. But in high school, I was like totally boy crazy. I was still saying I'm totally boy crazy. But yeah, I had a fun experimental period.
Did you know back then, how did you realize you were like back then into girls? It's not like really common in like Armenian culture, is it?
No. I'm just like, I've always just been very open-minded, even in high school. Like I kissed girls, like I had no problem with it. And I mean, when you're girls and you get really close and you have sleepovers and whatever, and I know that sounds weird, but like my girlfriend and I, or ex-girlfriend and I, were best friends, and like we got drunk one night and made out, and then we're like, oh, I kind of like that, we should do it again. And then we did it again, and then it evolved. Yeah. But I guess I've just always been very open-minded, and I still can't like classify my sexuality in any way, because I'm like, oh, I think I just like boys. And then I'll have like a really fun sexual experience with a girl, even like recently, and I'm like, am I? Like, I don't know.
Where do you think you got like this, your openness from, if it isn't from your family?
I feel like pure rebellion, to be honest. I was like, oh, they're saying that this isn't acceptable? Well, screw that. I'm gonna try it anyways.
Were you also like rebellious in high school, or was it college that you were able to like learn more about yourself?
I guess I've always been rebellious, but it wasn't obvious because like I was getting like really good grades in high school, you know? But that was kind of like my way of being like, oh, I can do whatever I want. I'm getting really good grades, you know? But I was rebellious. Like, you know, I asked my parents if I could do something, and they would say no. Yeah. And then I would just do it anyways. Yeah, like I remember when I was 12, I was like, oh, Mom, can I get my ear pierced? Like my cartilage? And she was like, no. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing it myself. You know, like small things like that. And I mean, Armenian culture is very traditional, conservative, and like pretty racist, you know? And so like even when I was a kid, I remember it's like, oh, you shouldn't hang out with those kids. And I'd be like, I kind of know that's wrong, so I'm gonna do it anyways, you know? So like my rebellion was just like kind of came from just knowing that like just because someone of authoritative figure like said something didn't mean that it was necessarily right. Yeah. So
did they do anything about it? Like, not like punish you, but I think like Asian parents, at least for me, would like, not saying they'd hit me, but like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I was kind of like lucky in the sense that my parents divorced when I was in like 6th grade, and I was much more afraid of my dad than I was of my mom, but he wasn't really around to see more of like the bad things I was doing. So I guess I just got away with things more because of that. Yeah. But I think I got grounded like twice.
Oh yeah, not so much.
Not so much, yeah.
Did their divorce like affect you a lot?
To be honest, I was like pretty relieved when they got divorced, because it had been too many years of seeing them unhappy together and it not ending in divorce. And then finally I was like, okay, I mean, it wasn't good, but it was a good, like the process wasn't good, but it was a good thing that happened in the end. Like it was good that they divorced.
Yeah. And after college, did you go straight and like find a job, or what were you doing?
When I graduated college, I continued to work at the grocery store that I was working at when I was in college. And then I started a job. I had 2 jobs at the same time. I was working at the grocery store and I was teaching kids with autism. And then I quit that, came back here and applied for graduate school and was like nannying and working with kids with special needs and stuff like that.
Were you always into like helping like autistic kids and like special needs kids?
I've just always loved babies. Like,
oh yeah.
I love children. I just have always thought they're like the smartest people in the world, because they are. And so, yeah, I mean, even when I was in college, I was interning in the infant development lab. So we literally have babies who are 4 weeks old, like coming in, and we would do experiments on them and stuff. I love kids. They're
so cool.
They're awesome. I want to be everyone's mom.
Is that kind of one of the reasons why you wanted to study like psychology? Did you initially, before doing this, wanted to be some sort of like teacher or like help these kids?
I think I started studying psychology more just because I've always been interested in people. Like, I think people are really cool, and everyone has a story to tell. It's the same reason why I like spoken word. You know, it's like people sharing their story. So that's pretty much why I like psychology. I wanted reasons to explain why fucked up, you know, how I came out so fucked up. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I really don't think I'm fucked up. I don't want anyone to actually like believe me when I say that. But it's just funny because when you study psychology, like every professor in every class says, don't self-diagnose. Like, you're learning about all these disorders.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just like, don't self-diagnose.
Damn, I can imagine.
Yeah, but it's like every disorder or whatever it is, like has like this like 50 general set of symptoms that like apply to almost everybody, you know. I could even say that I'm autistic. Like, if I read you the like what makes someone autistic, like you would probably like, you know what I mean, like you could ascribe it to almost anyone. It's just all about the degree of it or whatever. Did
you have any plans after graduation of like a certain career path initially you wanted to get into?
No, I've never really been like a planner, and I was the first one in my family to go to college, so there wasn't like a lot of direction in this. My family was like, "Wait, you got in? Wait, you're going? What?"
And you were about to go to grad school.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of always was like, oh, what's the next like thing that you're supposed to do? Like, oh, you're supposed to go to college. I did that. Okay, cool. I guess now people are supposed to go to grad school, you know, but it was more of like a safety net. You know, going to school is safe. It looks right on paper. Yeah. And as much as I love school, like I was thinking about even going to like sit in on classes at UCLA for fun, just because I really enjoy learning. But it is really expensive. It doesn't necessarily pay off depending on what you study. So, I mean, I was proud of myself for getting in, and that was like enough. So I just like decided that I shouldn't go because it was too expensive.
What were you thinking of studying grad school initially?
So boring. Industrial and organizational psychology. Yeah.
How did you think of it?
I honestly don't remember. I was like, oh, this program looks cool. And I don't know. Yeah, I just knew it wasn't right. It didn't feel right. Like, I was like, basically I would have gotten a job making like the workplace more efficient, working for some Fortune 500 company, like kind of like being human resources or something. And when I picked psychology, it was like because I like people and I like babies. So it was like, this doesn't feel right. It feels like the sellout version of a psychology major.
So after that, was it your like social media job, the one you were working at a company, or did you have like jobs in between?
I was nannying and working with, that was when I was nannying and working with kids with special needs. Oh, okay. And then I was kind of just like, I can't really go anywhere from here, you know? It's like, I'm kind of stuck. Like, how am I going to like progress? And I kind of wanted to just like change gears and work in a different kind of environment. So then I started interning at like a social media startup, and that was kind of where I just grew my following and like figured out like, oh, if you post pictures, then this is what happens. And, you know, I wouldn't say that there's like a plus B equals C formula, because it doesn't necessarily like always work, but it worked for me, and I kind of was like, okay, well, maybe I should run with this, you know? Yeah.
What kind of company was it? Was it more like consulting or?
I can't even describe it. It's Arsenic Magazine.
Oh, okay.
But they're like a social media Snapchat tech company, and we were helping a bunch of girls like grow their followings and let them take over our Snapchat and stuff. And I was like, well, I could kind of do the same thing. And so I did, and I learned a lot, and I made a lot of cool connections. And then I left, and now I'm just doing my own thing.
How long ago was that? And you met Emily there, right?
Yes, they moved Emily into my room because I used to live there, and she was our intern from North Carolina, and then they moved her to LA, and yeah.
How does it work? So they had housing for you, and then like they set up everything, or?
No, it was like, I mean, we got paid, and then we also like lived, not everybody lived there, but I lived there, Emily lived there. We left in, I guess, last August, so not a year yet, but almost a year, I guess. Yeah.
Were you homeless after that, or like did like live?
I feel like homeless is such an exaggeration, but we always joke about being homeless. Yeah, Emily and I like needed a place to live for like 6 weeks, and we stayed with friends, stayed in motels, and it was just kind of like, okay, we need to find a place to live, and how do we prove that we have money that's like legitimate? Like, it's kind of weird. Even now, my landlord thinks I'm like a model. Like, I told her I was a model, and I mean, I guess I am a model, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, finding a place to live, 6 weeks of us just roaming about in my car.
What gave you the confidence kind of to leave that job and realize you can do something yourself?
I was like really unhappy. Like, it was like, I just kept seeing people who had their own time and were doing their own thing. And it kind of got to the point where the amount of money that I could make doing my own thing became hard to ignore. And I was just like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm waking up every day, I'm doing something that I don't want to do. And so when people are like really like ridicule my life, I'm like, I can't even take them seriously, because they don't understand like how unhappy I was before versus how happy I am now. Because for me, time is just like the most valuable thing, and you can't replace it. So the fact that I get to wake up and dictate like how I want to figure out my day, what I want to do with it.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
so true.
That's like pretty much like why I left.
Was the private Snapchat the first idea you had from like after branching off from that company?
Yeah, I mean, that's what allowed me to leave, and it was something that like people on my Snapchat were asking me about way before I left, like 4 or 5 months before I left. And I was just like, oh, I don't understand this. What is it that's so weird? You take your clothes off. Oh my God, I can't do that. I can't take my clothes off. Could you imagine a thought like that from me? And then, you know, my following became so big, and people who like ran private Snapchat companies or whatever you want to call it, or just kept saying like, you know, this is a really great opportunity for you. And I didn't really want to work with people who were doing it because they were just like going to take like such a big percentage and stuff. So true, and I was like, well, if I'm really going to like leave this company and do my own thing, I really want it to be like my own thing. I met someone online who had been doing the private Snapchat thing for a while, and then he like kind of jump started me and built my website, and and we became business partners. So then that's what I've been doing since September.
What was the feeling like doing your first like private
Oh
Snap?
my God.
Like, and then having like seen that people looked at it, like what was your feeling?
So, God, I'm so sorry, Dad. When I left Arsenic, I didn't have a place to live. So I was going to stay with my dad for a while. And obviously my dad has no idea who LENA the Plug is at all.
Actually, was that decision to do LENA the Plug just so it wouldn't come up as your last name? Or
no, that was like my nickname when I was at Arsenic. Like, they called me the Plug at work.
They came up for that?
They came up with it, yeah. It was just like a work nickname. But yeah, so I'm like, this was right before I became homeless. The reason I became homeless is because my dad found out who LENA the Plug was. But anyways,
how did he find out?
Oh my God. So I'm living with him for like 10 days. And this is when I'm starting my private Snapchat thing. So where the hell am I going to do my private Snapchat? Obviously in the shower, in the bathroom, where it's like hidden. So I guess I like took like a few like shower snaps. Those were my first ones. And I felt good. I was like, I look hot. Like, this is cool. Like, people are paying for this, and I look fantastic. So then I'm living with my dad for like a week. And he basically was just like, you're going to get a regular job. And
so how did he find out?
I think like supposedly someone told my stepmom, who then told my dad, and then he saw my Instagram, and I was like getting ready to go out one night, and I was wearing like not that sexy of clothes. Like I remember exactly what I was wearing, and he was just like, where are you going? Who are you going with? And I was like, oh wow, where is this coming from? Like, this is so bizarre. And, you know, I'm 25, so I was like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, he was like, you're gonna go work at Verizon, and you're gonna delete everything off the internet. And I was like, obviously my dad doesn't know enough about the internet to know that that's impossible.
Yeah.
And
why Verizon?
They probably have good benefits. Oh. That's what parents care about, right? Security. Yeah. Parents care about security. They want you to work for the companies that will give you the 401ks. And I really just value my happiness a little bit more than a 401k right now. Maybe I'll regret it in 30 years, 40 years, but I don't really care right now.
What was he thinking you were doing like that time then?
I still have no idea. Like,
so he just, I think
that was like the last.
Ignorance is bliss sometimes with parents, like they just rather not know. Maybe he had one of those stages, or.
But I almost wish I knew what he knew so that like I could have a point of conversation to start from, because that was like the last like legitimate conversation that I've had with my dad, and that was in September. So yeah. But
how about your mom? Did she?
She's gonna watch this, so I really don't want to talk about her. My mom is not accepting of what I do, but she keeps up with my social media and your social media and Adam's social media.
Oh my God.
She'll watch all of this. Hi, Mom.
How did you decide, like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this, and how did you like grow your social media?
I had already grown my social media while I was at Arsenic. I mean, it's one of those things where I was like, okay, if I post a sexy picture, this is how people are responding. This sort of picture performs better than this sort of picture. In terms of like what's engaging and what's not. And I don't know, it just kind of worked. I feel like in some ways I got really lucky, because there's people that we were working with at Arsenic to help grow their social media, and like I surpassed them, but I couldn't necessarily say like why.
Have you ever had thoughts like, is this the right industry, because you've like had your Instagram like
deleted?
Yeah, and then it's like, then you realize how like I guess like you have it one day and the rest of you don't, and it's hard to like, it's not like completely dependable. So did you ever think?
Oh yeah, with social media, it's like it's never in your control. Yeah. But I've only had the thought of like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't be doing this one time. And that was when the sex tape at 1 mil thing like went viral, and I was getting so much hatred online from like 25 countries. That was the only time where I was like, wow, maybe I shouldn't do this, because I was reading all the comments, and like, as much as people want to say ignore the haters,
how do you
like
deal with that? Like it's like
when it was all at once like that. Oh, I'm not gonna say that I'm like a super strong person, but like even a strong person, when it comes like that, and I've never really been in the spotlight. Like I don't know what it's like to basically be standing on stage and having a billion people throw things at you. That's what it felt like, you know? And that was when I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but, you know, then...
At the beginning, it was just like your fans, and then Adam's fans were like supportive of you and everything.
And then it was like 95%
like new
hate.
People who like don't even know you and your background and everything.
They have no idea. To them, I'm just a stupid girl who wants to take her clothes off and should literally drink bleach and die. Like those are things. I hope you get in a car accident today. I mean, it was like people. But the thing that sucks is like, okay, I come from a psychology background, and for me, it's like, what does that say about how people feel about women, or what people think of women, especially women who are sexual? And it's just like, it's terrifying, right? Like that's how people.
I don't think Adam got much like.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Who is Adam? Who is Adam? For the most part, it's like people could even assume that he's not even like, some people don't know how to have a boyfriend. Like they weren't even paying enough attention to realize like there was another person in this, you know. It's like, I will forever get all the hate, and I even now I do, you know, but I'm much better at dealing with it now than I was before. That was like, oh my God, this is insane. Yeah.
Was the first time you met Adam doing the podcast with him, or did you already know him like way back before that?
I met him, I watched his podcast, and then I met him when I was working at Arsenic because they wanted me to like do outreach to radio and podcasts. So I like reached out to Adam, and then, you know, me and him went on a date, and then we started hanging out. And we did podcasts with Carly or whatever. Yeah. But that was like right around the time when I met him. Yeah.
How did you realize that you wanted to be like serious with him? Because I feel like he's like in all his other vlogs, he was like, yeah, I'm like not gonna have a girlfriend.